In Episode 1, we explored the historical and literary background of this iconic play. We discussed who William Shakespeare was, the source story of Hamlet from Danish legend, the Elizabethan worldview, and why this tragedy continues to move audiences centuries later. Now, in Episode 2, we turn to the full plot of Hamlet, a tale of murder, madness, betrayal, revenge, and the haunting questions of life and death. Let's walk step by step through the 5 acts of the play, uncovering every twist and turn, from ghostly apparitions to deadly duels. Let's begin.
Act 1, A Ghostly Revelation.
The play opens on a dark, chilly night atop the battlements of Elsinore Castle in Denmark. Guards are on edge. A ghost, silent and pale, has been haunting the castle. It appears night after night, wearing armor that resembles the recently deceased King Hamlet, father to Prince Hamlet. When Horatio, a loyal friend of Prince Hamlet and a scholar, sees the ghost with his own eyes, he is shocked. Realizing this is no ordinary spirit, he decides to inform Hamlet of the sighting. Meanwhile, inside the royal court, a very different atmosphere is brewing. Claudius, the dead king's brother, has quickly taken the throne and, to the shock of many, married his brother's widow, Queen Gertrude, Hamlet's mother. This hasty marriage has disturbed Hamlet deeply. He sees it as unnatural, even incestuous. He's grieving his father's death and now feels betrayed by his mother and disgusted by Claudius's apparent opportunism. Soon, Hamlet meets the ghost himself. The encounter is chilling. The ghost speaks for the first time and confirms what Hamlet has feared, that Claudius murdered him. The ghost reveals that while sleeping peacefully in the orchard, Claudius poured poison into his ear. He demands that Hamlet avenge his foul and most unnatural murder, but warns him not to harm Gertrude, to leave her punishment to heaven. Hamlet is shaken but swears to remember and obey the ghost. He decides to begin a mission of revenge, but not rashly. He understands he must be careful, for he is up against a cunning king.
Act 2, A Prince Pretends to be Mad.
To hide his true intentions and buy time, Hamlet adopts a clever strategy. He pretends to go mad. This antic disposition serves as a smokescreen, confusing everyone around him while he searches for proof and plots his revenge. Polonius, the elderly and self-important royal advisor, becomes convinced that Hamlet's madness is due to his love for Polonius's daughter, Ophelia. Earlier, Hamlet had shown affection for her, but now he pushes her away, part of his plan, or perhaps a sign of his growing inner turmoil. King Claudius grows suspicious of Hamlet's erratic behavior. He summons 2 of Hamlet's old-school friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, to spy on him and report back. Meanwhile, a troupe of traveling actors arrives at the castle. This gives Hamlet a brilliant idea. He will use a play to catch the conscience of the king. He asks the players to perform a scene that mirrors the ghost's story, a king being murdered by poison poured into the ear, to see how Claudius reacts. If Claudius shows guilt, Hamlet will have confirmation beyond the ghost's word. Hamlet also begins to question life itself, and we see early signs of his philosophical crisis. He wonders whether the pain of existence is worth enduring, introducing the famous question, to be or not to be.
Act 3, The Play That Traps the King.
This act marks the climax of tension in the play. The actors perform the customized play, which Hamlet has titled The Mousetrap. The murder scene unfolds on stage, and Claudius reacts just as Hamlet hoped. He rises in alarm, calls for lights, and abruptly leaves. This confirms to Hamlet that the ghost spoke the truth. Now Hamlet is certain. Claudius is a murderer. Soon after, Hamlet stumbles upon Claudius alone and seemingly praying. It's the perfect moment to kill him and fulfill his vow. But Hamlet hesitates. He reasons that killing Claudius while he is confessing would send his soul to heaven, not the revenge Hamlet wants. Hamlet wants Claudius to suffer, not be rewarded with salvation. Instead, Hamlet goes to confront his mother in her chambers. Their conversation turns intense. Hamlet expresses his disgust at her marriage to Claudius. Suddenly he hears a rustling behind a curtain. Believing Claudius is hiding there, he impulsively stabs through the fabric. But it's not Claudius, it's Polonius, who dies instantly. Gertrude is horrified. The ghost appears again, visible only to Hamlet, reminding him to focus on his mission and not harm his mother. Hamlet begs Gertrude to see the truth and confess her sins, but her loyalty to Claudius remains uncertain.
Act 4 Madness, Revenge and Exile.
With Polonius dead, Claudius knows Hamlet is dangerous. He uses the opportunity to send Hamlet to England under the pretense of protecting him, but secretly with a letter instructing the English king to execute Hamlet upon arrival. Meanwhile, Ophelia descends into madness, overwhelmed by grief over her father's death and Hamlet's cruelty. She sings haunting songs and speaks in riddles before ultimately drowning, possibly by suicide. Laertes, her brother, returns in fury, demanding justice for his father and sister. Claudius, ever the manipulator, turns Laertes' anger toward Hamlet. He proposes a deadly plan. Hamlet and Laertes will duel, but Laertes will fight with a sharpened, poisoned sword. As backup, Claudius prepares a poisoned goblet of wine in case Hamlet wins. At sea, Hamlet discovers Claudius's letter and outwits the plan. He rewrites the message so that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are executed instead, and returns to Denmark secretly. The final act begins in a graveyard, where two gravediggers joke about death while preparing a fresh grave. Hamlet arrives and holds the skull of Yorick, the court jester who once made him laugh as a child. This iconic scene leads Hamlet into deep reflection on death, decay, and the equality of all in the end, kings and beggars alike. Soon, Hamlet learns that the grave is for Ophelia. The funeral procession arrives, and Hamlet confronts Laertes in her grave. The two men fight, grief-stricken and bitter. Claudius seizes the opportunity to launch his final plan. The duel between Hamlet and Laertes is arranged. Hamlet agrees, unaware of the trap. The match begins. At first, it appears to be a friendly contest, but soon the poisoned blade wounds Hamlet. In the scuffle, the weapons are switched, and Hamlet wounds Laertes with the same poisoned sword. Queen Gertrude, unaware of the plot, drinks from the poisoned cup meant for Hamlet. She dies. Laertes, fatally wounded, confesses the truth to Hamlet. Claudius orchestrated everything. Furious and with little time left, Hamlet stabs Claudius with the poisoned blade and forces him to drink the poisoned wine. Claudius dies. With his final breath, Hamlet entrusts Horatio to tell the story truthfully. He names Fortinbras, the noble prince of Norway, as Denmark's next ruler. Then the Prince of Denmark dies. The court lies in ruins. The royal family is gone. Justice has been served, but at the cost of nearly every life.
Summary of the plot. Here's a quick recap of the full story. A ghost reveals the king's murder. Hamlet pretends to be mad while plotting revenge. A play confirms Claudius's guilt. Hamlet accidentally kills Polonius. Ophelia goes mad and drowns. Claudius schemes to kill Hamlet. A fencing match turns into chaos, poisoned wine, a poisoned sword, and multiple deaths. Hamlet avenges his father, but dies in the process. Hamlet is a tragedy of immense psychological depth. It explores themes of betrayal, hesitation, the thirst for revenge, and the mystery of existence itself. Through Hamlet's journey, we see not only a tale of royal intrigue, but the internal torment of a man wrestling with the burden of truth.
In our next video, we'll take a closer look at the main characters in Hamlet. Who really is Prince Hamlet? What drives Claudius to kill? Why is Ophelia such a tragic figure? What role do characters like Gertrude, Polonius, and Laertes play?